Hello, everybody. Self-Care Samantha here, and today I want to tell you and talk to you about how manifesting is complete and utter bullshit. Okay. So to start, I just want to cover a few quick things. So if I was going to fall into a box of spirituality, I would be considered metaphysical. Okay. So metaphysics is a Latin word for what is beyond physical, a greater power, whatever. There's a lot of words. I like the word God. Okay, but a lot of people use the word God connected to specifically Christianity religions. That is not correct. God is just a title. It's no different than saying Baron or Lord or Doctor or Mr. or Mrs. Okay, but when we attach words to meanings, sometimes it can be confusing. So if I say God, try to understand that I mean something well beyond us that is a creator. I don't mean a man in the sky, because I personally do not believe that God is a primate with a beard judging us from above. I think that's ridiculous, but that's me, okay? Hopefully that doesn't offend you. And if you're not offended, stick around. Okay, so let's talk about how manifesting is absolute bullshit. Okay, so manifest, specifically means either to come to vision or to come to surface, okay? So that doesn't necessarily mean what you want. Like, you want to attain something. You want something to be real. You don't want to just have a passing vision of it, and you don't want it to just reach the surface. You're trying to make something actually happen, okay? So manifest is not ideal. It's actually more of a sense of wishing. And I'm going to tell you something right now that I have learned through all my studies, and I have been studying God and religion for minimum a decade of my life. Manifesting means wishing, and God is not a genie. Can't stress that one enough, okay? God is not a genie. God, instead, is your co-creator. One of my favorite terms, actually, is creator, created creature, to create, okay? So we're here to create our lives, literally. You are the creator of your own life, but you are a co-creator with God, okay? So because God is not a genie, you can't sit around and wish and be like, God, I wish it happened to me. Like, what a fucking waste of your godly power, okay? God can only provide you a limited amount of things because you are in the material world. You are a material girl in the material world, or a material boy, okay? So what can God give you? God can provide you comfort, strength, I don't think I spelled that right. God can give us comfort, strength. I have to think about this. Comfort, strength, knowledge, clarity, okay, and refinement. Okay, so refinement specifically means that you will be processed until you're better, or challenged until you're better. So like if you start praying to God and say, like, I need to be refined, expect things to get hard. Okay? And that's very important, because life is a full spectrum experience. Full spectrum. I'm having very messy writing today. Spectrum experience. Okay, so let's talk about what that means. Experience. Okay, a full spectrum experience means simultaneously life is good and bad. Simultaneously, life is hilarious and serious. Simultaneously, life is horrendously ugly and unbelievably beautiful. Okay, like, it's nonstop. There is a constant duality existing here, and our job is to truly experience the whole thing, but not overtake from one side to the other, okay? But one thing I've definitely learned is by getting used to the idea of what I can actually ask God for, it makes it a lot easier to deal with the full spectrum experience. So if I ask for refinement, I know things are about to get really hard, okay? But I asked for that, okay? But if I ask for strength from God through my refinement, it's probably going to be a little bit easier, because when I ask for God to help me get strength, it seems like things open for me, or opportunities show up that support me in the thing I want to be refined through, okay? So understanding what God can do for you is hugely important, because, again, He's not a genie, or she's not a genie, and we don't want to manifest. what we want to do with all this here is materialize. Okay. Okay. I just said it. You're a material girl in a material world, or a material boy in a material world. We need to materialize things. Okay. So when somebody builds a house, there's nothing there. They go and get material and they build the thing. Okay. When you want to start a business, there's nothing there, but you have to gain the strength and the hardware, because you're going to need some type of hardware, whether it's like computers or tools or whatever, and then you build the thing. Okay. So all the things that we're trying to do in our world is build something physical right here, bang, bang, here in the world that we live in. But manifesting doesn't do that. Okay. Manifesting is just wishing for the best and not doing fuck all. Okay. So let me be clear. I've met a lot of people who use manifesting and don't get anywhere. And what they're doing is they're doing something called spiritual bypassing. Okay, let's write that one down. Bypassing. Okay, so spiritual bypassing and manifesting are so closely related, it's crazy. It drives me bananas, to be completely honest with you. Okay, so spiritual bypassing is people who are like, positive vibes only, you're being really negative. Like, yeah, there's parts of life that are negative. And if you're a shitty teacher and a shitty spiritual teacher, listen, I'm going to say that to you. And that should be taken as feedback for you to refine, not kick somebody out of your reality because you refuse to accept 50% of what is reality. The truth is, guys, 50% of reality is fucking awesome, but 50% of the reality sucks balls really, really bad. And we're trying our best to manage and navigate ourselves through that, but you cannot stop the full spectrum that is life. It's always going to be tragic and beautiful simultaneously. It's always going to be funny and serious simultaneously. You could be having the best fucking day of your life and your parent or your pet dies, or your partner, okay? You could be having the worst day of your life and the person who loves you asks you to marry them in the right context, the right time, okay? So everything is always going to be a full spectrum experience. So we cannot bypass that, but we can certainly ask for strength and refinement and knowledge and comfort and clarity to get through that, okay? Those are the things that I pray for every day from God. Okay, every day I ask God to comfort me through the hard things. Every day I ask God to give me knowledge when I'm confused. Every day I'm like, I want to get better. Can you refine me? And when I ask for refinement, the challenges can be really challenging. But a lot of the time, it's exactly what I thought I needed, but I didn't know how to create the opportunity. So when I ask for it, then the opportunity for me to materialize that refinement shows up. Okay, so that's not manifesting. That's having a direct conversation with God. Okay, that's prayer. Let's actually talk about that for a second. Prayer is also not wishing, okay? Prayer means earnest request to God, okay? It does not mean wish. When you pray and you discuss with God, okay, here's an example I've been telling people this week. Where I live, it's unbelievably dry, and we actually had a wildfire. I'm a volunteer firefighter. Seeing a fire that is in a forest that you're well aware of is heartbreaking because we don't have the manpower for that. We do have to call in other things. So people are like, oh, I wish for rain. I wish for rain. I'm like, no, you don't fucking wish for rain. You pray for rain. You go to God and you tell God, hey, we need strength from you and we need comfort from you and we need rain in this environment. I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately. I'm sure God has a lot of things to do. I don't know why everything is so dry because maybe there's other powers that be, but I know that when you ask God for stuff instead of wish for stuff, you will get a drastically different result, okay? So with all that said, I'm just looking at my notes here real quick. I want to discuss the truth of materialization. So how do we materialize, okay? How are we going to materialize? Materializing takes action, active process, and patience, okay? Some things are going to take longer than you want. Suck it up, buttercup. You might not be ready for that thing, okay? I know there's things that I wanted to do just this, okay? Let's use my YouTube channel as an example. I've been wanting to do something like this for the last 10 years, but the last 10 years have been the most intense, challenging, refining time of my life. And I had more to learn and more to learn and more to refine and more to refine and more to mature and more to mature. And I wasn't ready to be the teacher I am today. I was busy being the student, okay? But when I asked God, when I said to God, this is what I want to do with my life, I want to be refined so I can be so good that I help people. It took 10 years, but look what I am at right now, okay? So let's talk about how to win the lottery as a smaller example, okay? How to win the lottery. And the reason why I'm using lottery is because it's the perfect example, because everybody wishes to win the lottery. I know I've never met somebody who's like, if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to do this. I like to say to those people, and when's the last time you bought a lottery ticket? And guess when? Never. Okay, so how are you going to fucking win a lottery if you don't have a lottery ticket? This makes no sense, okay? So how do you win the lottery? I'm going to give you a second here. I just want you to think about everything we talked about here. I've even already given you the answer in this, but I'm going to tell you, okay? So what is it? It takes action, okay? Active process. Oops, process. Patience. And actually, bonus here is you need to know that not everything is for you and accept that, okay? So result is what we're going to call it, okay? Result. Oops. Result. Okay, so action to win the lottery, you're going to make a decision that you want to win. And you're going to tell that to God. God, I want to win the lottery. Guide me to that. And then you're going to go to the store and you're going to get a ticket, okay? Because if you don't get a ticket, how the fuck are you going to win? Get a ticket. Okay, active, that's your active process, okay? You actually went and did it. So patience is you're going to wait for a little bit because you don't know what the numbers or when they're going to be called, okay? And then whatever the result is, you're going to accept. Accept. You either did or you didn't win the lottery, okay? But that is the general process, okay? Imagine making a sandwich, okay? The action is, I want to have a sandwich, okay? So let's say sandwich. What is the active process? It's you getting up and going to the kitchen and throwing all the ingredients together. Patience, well, maybe you want to fry up some bacon or toast the bread, I don't know, whatever that case is. And the result is going to be the sandwich that you accept that you made for yourself, okay? It's always the same process with God, no matter what, okay? When you go to God and say, I really want to be able to do this thing with my life, well, you need to make the action of deciding you're actually going to do that, okay? That is an action, by the way. Actual decision-making and commitment is an action. Being an active process means you probably have to study and do stuff and take actions. If you're not doing an action towards every single day, if you're not taking an action every single day towards the things you actually want in your life, how are you going to co-create with God? You can't. Because if you're not doing anything, then you're just trying to manifest, which means you're wishing, which means you're not going to get anything out of it, okay? You have to do stuff with God in order to create with God, okay? Finally, patience. You have to take time. I just told you it took me about 10 years to get to this point in my life that I'm good enough to teach you, right? And the result is I'm able now, okay? And I'm going to go further with this. One of my long-term goals with what I'm doing here with you is I hope to write a book and maybe end up on some podcasts and doing a little bit of touring and hopefully doing my own speaking engagements. And let me tell you, just from starting this YouTube channel, I've already gained an invite for a paid speaking engagement. What? Dream come true, but that wasn't a wish. That is a result of me materializing what I want to do, okay? And that's also a co-creation with God. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight. I hope it doesn't offend you, okay? Because I want to be clear. I don't fall into any specific religion. I would consider myself metaphysical, and that's enough for me personally. But I know Christians who understood this, that I've explained this to. I know Muslims that I've explained this to and completely agreed with me. It's not necessarily about the religion part, but it is about understanding how to work with God to get what you want in your life. Okay. So I want to remind you, this video is absolutely not sponsored by a single person. So if you love this video, please like it, please subscribe. Leave me a comment on your thoughts. Have you ever tried any of this stuff? Are you going to try this stuff? Is there something that you want to ask me that maybe I think I covered and I didn't? I have no idea. Anyways, friends, lovely to see everybody, and I plan on getting back to regular video making. It's just been an extremely busy week around here with being a firefighter with very dry conditions. So thanks for being here. If you care about me, send out prayers to our area to gain water so we don't have any forest fires, because it is so scary. Thank you, beautiful everybody. We'll see you soon.